We'll have to see how they pair up in this first match. We see the Shadow Venusaur come into a Medicham, Caleb.
Yeah, this is going to be, typically speaking, a good matchup for that Venusaur, but you have super effective Psychic on this Medicham. Actually, AugustRalts running that Power Punch, so no Ice Punch here, but RyanSwag might not know that, so you can still bait with the Power Punch. Going to let this first Frenzy Plant go through.
Yeah, Frenzy Plant with that power of Shadow takes Medicham down to the red. And we see a quick swap into the Sableye. AugustRalts goes for a charge move. RyanSwag's not really sure what it's going to be. No shield to power a punch. And we see a swap into the opposing Shadow Venusaur.
Yeah, so revealing that Power Punch now too. Maybe AugustRalts not hoping to throw that at the Sableye. Great no-shield call from RyanSwag here. And here's the thing, Sableye versus Venusaur is a very interesting matchup. They get to their moves at the same exact time, so whichever Pokemon has the energy lead typically will win that matchup, especially if you have shields up. Now RyanSwag could choose not to shield, then chooses not to shield a hard-hitting Frenzy Plant there, choosing to let it go and tanking that move. Maybe coming down and aggressively farming down with your own Venusaur. That's going to be a very aggressive farm down, but let's see if he goes for that play. And looks like he is coming in with the Dugong instead, showing off that Dugong. And here's the problem, this Medicham doesn't have too much health to deal with, and this Dugong's looking very good into that Charizard in the back.
It really does. Dugong has that Icy Wind charge move that will guaranteed debuff your opponent by one stage. We are going to see that in action right now as RyanSwag goes for the first Icy Wind debuff.
Yeah, and this is a tough situation because even if your Charizard here using it on AugustRalts' side, even though you know it's going to be Icy Wind every time, you have to shield it because that neutral, hard-hitting Icy Wind is still going to chunk away at this more frail Charizard here. And Charizard's great, especially with energy advantage or shields down. AugustRalts swapping the Medicham to clear that original debuff, but again, this Dugong is still a huge pest here, getting to another Icy Wind. This one's going to go no shielded from AugustRalts.
Yeah, and it's going to do a lot of damage. Takes Charizard very low, only a few fast moves away before Charizard faints, giving the first victory to RyanSwag on the back, or on the tail of that Dugong.
Yeah, exactly. These trainers are locking in here. And again, just looking at these two teams, there's so much variety on both sides. We love to see it. And here we go. It is going to be Shadow Venusaur into Medicham yet again. And RyanSwag already knows this Medicham is not carrying Ice Punch, so only needs to shield potential Psychics. And going straight away for the Frenzy Plant, but AugustRalts catching a resisted Frenzy Plant on his own Venusaur.
But it's still going to do a lot, like quite a chunk of damage there. Much less than a Sludge Bomb would have, but not an insignificant amount, as this Venusaur is already down to half health before it gets a chance to throw another Frenzy Plant here.
Yeah, and RyanSwag's counter here is going to know it's a Frenzy Plant, but is actually going to preserve the health on his own Venusaur here. It's not a bad play because looking at RyanSwag's backline, there's not a lot of answers for this Venusaur. There's no clear answer. Dugong does great with the ice damage, but still has to take super effective Vine Whips and Frenzy Plant. But it looks like RyanSwag is going to pivot over to the Sableye last minute here. However, now the Sableye is locked in, and the Medicham can avoid that matchup, bring in the Charizard now to try to finish off the Sableye.
And Sableye is going to go right away for the foul play against the Shadow Charizard. Shadow Charizard shields up. Medicham waiting in the back to see what it can do against the Shadow Venusaur and the Dugong.
Yeah, and I like this play from AugustRalts. Charizard is a force to be reckoned with, especially with energy. And if you look at the back line of RyanSwag, this Charizard is going to be a huge problem. Do you spend your final shield here? Because if you do, you can get Wing Attack down, and no, choosing not to. I like this play from RyanSwag. You need to save at least one shield for the Charizard because you don't want to take a Blast Burn on either of your remaining two Pokemon here. But here comes that Dugong yet again, and now is going to start getting some Ice Shard damage here. It looks like AugustRalts is actually going to choose to leave with the Blast Burn ready here and going straight away for the Psychic damage. I like this play a lot because if you go for Power Punch, RyanSwag can always swap out there and bring in the Venusaur. Landing the hard-hitting Psychic instead, I think, is the right call.
Yeah, and then we have the Shadow Venusaur going for a Frenzy Plant right away. RyanSwag swapping out of the Dugong, saving it for that Charizard in the back. And now Medicham has to build up to the Psychic. doesn't stop short and goes for the power-up punch. Does RyanSwag know this is a power-up punch bait? Shields it instead. We see a little shake of the head there, recognizing that that was not the optimal play.
Yeah, I think AugustRalts knew that he wasn't going to make it to Psychic in time anyway, so goes for the Power Punch, able to get a shield from RyanSwag, which is huge. Does not have the Frenzy Band ready, and the Charizard is probably going to wing attack down, getting the wing attack, has the Blaster ready. You're going to win Charizard priority 100 times out of 100 times, and here comes a hard-hitting Blast Burn to close out game number 2 for AugustRalts.
Yeah, this Blast Burn is going to connect, and Dugong is off the field, tying up this match. RyanSwag and AugustRalts 1-1. We have a decisive game 3 ahead of us.
RyanSwag is going to make that adjustment. We are going into game number 3, and it is going to be none other than a Shadow Venusaur mirror matchup. Definitely one of the more uncomfortable ones because it's really about who can land that Sludge Bomb and maybe make the no shield calls on the Frenzy Plants.
All right, and we see a catch. Is this a Sludge Bomb? It is. Does RyanSwag trust that he caught a Sludge Bomb? And he does! Resisted Sludge Bomb on the Sableye, and then here comes that Shadow Charizard. Shield advantage. It is going to start breathing some fire down on the battle arena.
Yeah, a huge no shield call from RyanSwag, because even though it is the Sludge Bomb, it could have easily been a Frenzy Plant bait meant for that Venusaur. But making that call was really crucial there, making that catch. But the problem is now you got to deal with this Charizard. And again, Charizard is such a force to be reckoned with against RyanSwag's team. I mean, what do? Do you come in with the Venusaur with energy? Like, it's weird to come in a Grass type into a Fire type, but maybe that's the play to try to neutralize this Charizard. And no, actually coming in with the Dugong, and here comes a hard-hitting Blast Burn. Do you shield this? And does make the correct shield call.
Yeah, I really like this because no matter what that move was, it was going to be the most powerful move due to the Icy Wind. I think it was a really valuable use of a shield because Dugong now can debuff. Anything that comes after it is going to be a little less threatening. So we see a switch out into the Venusaur. Charizard preserved with just a little bit of health left, and here comes that super effective Icy Wind. If it doesn't knock out, it will do quite a bit of damage. Does knock out the Shadow Venusaur. Dugong doing great work here.
Yeah, I mean, just sacrificing the Venusaur there too, but the problem is, let's not forget, RyanSwag's Venusaur had a ton of energy saved from before, did not throw any in that initial head-to-head matchup, and now has almost 2 Frenzy Plants loaded. I mean, we talked about how great Trevenant was a Grass type into Medicham, but this is the new King of Grass, and it is putting in work still into Medichams.
Yeah, and there goes the last shield on the side of AugustRalts. RyanSwag still has a shield, so could potentially shield up this Psychic. Let's hit through. Venusaur goes down, but here comes Dugong. Dugong's fast move does quite a bit of damage. Going to fire it off here to knock out the Medicham. Not going to risk taking any more damage onto the Dugong, and then here comes that Shadow Charizard, probably just going to neutralize it with a couple of fast moves.
Yeah, great games from both trainers there, and RyanSwag putting in work with the Dugong. You talked about how good Dugong is, Stephanie, and it made a show in all 3 games there too. I love the call, the no shield call from RyanSwag in the end game there.